LaMelo to Minnesota, what the numbers say about Charlotte's biggest trade. 6 years after drafting LaMelo Ball third overall, Charlotte's moved on. Ball and Josh Green go to Minnesota. The Hornets get Naz Reid, a 2033 unprotected first-round pick, 3 first-round pick swaps in 28, 29, 30, and 3 second-round picks in 29, 32, and 33. The trade ends one of the more complicated star-building experiments in recent NBA history. Ball was supposed to be the franchise piece Charlotte's been missing since the Kemba Walker era. 6 seasons later, Charlotte has 44 wins, a new direction, and a package of assets that will define what their rebuild actually becomes. Minnesota, meanwhile, pairs Ball with Anthony Edwards in what projects as one of the most electric backcourts in the league. Let's run the numbers. Thanks for reading Net Wins. This post is public, so feel free to share it. It's at netwins.substack.com. What did Charlotte give up? Charlotte gave up LaMelo Ball, 5.9 net wins, age 24, trade value 7.3. The formula tells a complicated story about Ball, and it starts with his per-game production by age. The rate held remarkably steady from ages 20 through 23, right around 30 to 32 net total per game across 4 seasons that were heavily disrupted by injuries. At 24, in his first healthy full season in years, 72 games, the per-game number dropped to 17.5. That's a number everyone in Charlotte's front office was staring at when they decided to move him. 2 interpretations are available, and the truth is probably both. The optimistic read, Ball was never fully healthy before this season, and 72 games at a degraded rate is still a small sample of what he can be. The pessimistic read, a 24-year-old who plays 72 games and produced at a 17.5 net per game when his established healthy rate was 30 plus, has either lost something or is never going to replicate those injury year flashes at full volume. The 21-22 season at 30 a game across 75 games remains his clearest statement of what a healthy LaMelo looks like. This wasn't that. His trade value of 7.3 reflects both the upside, age 24, 2 years before the formula's peak at 26, and the uncertainty. Minnesota's betting the 30-plus rate comes back in a better environment. The formula is pricing the 17.5 because that's actually what happened. They also received Josh Green with 1.1 net win, age 25, trade value 1.2. Green arrived in Charlotte via Dallas prior to last season, never found a consistent role. His 1.1 net wins in 58 games this year is the lowest of his career on a per-game basis. At 25, his trade value of 1.2 is essentially what you'd expect from a rotation piece on a bad contract. Useful filler in a trade, not a player either team's building around. So the combined Charlotte outgoing trade value is approximately 8.5. Net Wins is a reader-supported publication. To receive new posts and support my work, consider becoming a free or paid subscriber. What Charlotte received: Naz Reid, 5.3 net wins, age 26, trade value 5.3. Reid's at his peak age, which means the formula values him at exactly his current production. No premium, no discount. His 5.3 net wins is a real number. He's a genuine rotation piece who's produced consistently for Minnesota across 7 seasons. But his career per game trajectory raises a question Charlotte needs to answer. Reid's age 25 season of 20.4 across 80 games was the best of his career. This year at age 26, it dropped sharply to 13.2. Same team, same system, fewer games, but not dramatically so. Charlotte is inheriting a player whose peak may already be behind him. The formula puts him at 5.3 net wins right now, which is accurate, but the direction of the per-game trend isn't encouraging at a peak age player. The pick package, this is where Charlotte's real return lives. Using the historical career net wins averages from the draft pick value article, the 2033 unprotected first is the crown jewel. Minnesota is a legitimate contender. They're going deep into the Edwards Ball era, but for a 2033 first from a good team, it still projects in the 15 to 22 pick range, which historically averages around 15 to 20 career net wins of expected value. The 3 first-round pick swaps are asymmetric options. Charlotte gets to choose whether the swap is picked with Minnesota's, meaning that they only exercise the swap if Minnesota's picked better than theirs. As a rebuilding team, likely to hold lottery picks in those years, while Minnesota holds a mid to late first, each swap has meaningful option value. Conservatively, 3 swaps are worth approximately 15 to 20 net wins in aggregate expected value. The 3 second-round picks contribute roughly 9 to 12 net wins of expected value at typical second-round averages. So the total pick package expected value is approximately 39 to 52 net wins. Total Charlotte incoming Reid plus picks is approximately 44 to 57 trade value equivalent. So what's the verdict? Charlotte gave up assets with a combined trade value of approximately 8.5 and received the package worth an estimated 44 to 57 in expected value, with the picks doing the heavy lifting. That's a massive return on paper, and it makes sense because Charlotte wasn't just trading a player. They're trading 6 years of organizational uncertainty, a star who couldn't stay healthy, and a 17.5 net game average 24 season, age 24 season that raised real questions about what Ball actually is. Minnesota's paying a steep price for the upside scenario that Ball's age 20 through 23 per game rate was the real player and that this year was a correction year rather than a new baseline. If that's right, they've paired Edwards, who has a trade value of 9.1 at age 24, 7.3 net wins in only 61 games, with the co-star and built one of the 2 or 3 most dangerous backcourts in basketball. The Edwards-Ball pairing is worth examining through the formula separately. Edwards at 7.3 net wins in 61 games projects to roughly 9.8 over a full 82 at a healthy Ball at his previous 30 net game rate. Call it 7 to 8 net wins, and Minnesota's backcourt alone should be producing 17 to 18 net wins. The rest of the roster needs to hold together, but that backcourt foundation is legitimate. So where's each side betting on? Minnesota's betting that LaMelo Ball at 24 in a winning environment with a genuine co-star produces like the player who posted 30 to 32 net from ages 20 to 23, that the 17.5 of this season was a product of Charlotte's dysfunction, his own disengagement from a losing situation, or both, and neither follows him to Minnesota. The pick cost is enormous. The upside is a finals caliber backcourt for the next 4 to 5 years. Charlotte's betting that the picks develop as expected, that Reid at 26 gives them the genuine piece to build around while the picks mature, and that Ball's injury history and this season's production drop were warning signs both worth heeding rather than buying through. If Ball becomes a genuine star in Minnesota, Charlotte will look like the undersold. If Ball's age 24 rate is closer to his true level, this trade looks prescient. The formula doesn't know which LaMelo Ball shows up in Minnesota. It knows that a 24-year-old who produced 17.5 in 72 games being valued by the market as a 30 net per game player, and that gap between what he did and what he might do is the entire wager at the center of the trade. The net wins formula and all written content are original works, all rights reserved. Thank you for your time.